another episode of The Fearless Foodie. I'm Flora with the FloraSageTherapiesInstitute.com, and today I am so excited to be able to share with you one of my favorite winter soup recipes. This comes from my sister Erica, and she was so kind enough to share her secret recipe for chicken wild rice soup. Yay! So the ingredients that you're going to need for this soup are onions, carrots, celery, mushrooms. Now you can use canned mushrooms or you can use fresh mushrooms that have been sliced. And you're also going to need 2 hind quarter pieces of chicken. Now what I mean by hind quarter pieces of chicken are the pieces of chicken that still have the bone and skin on them and are the leg and the thigh pieces. So if you can't find hind quarter chicken, then I would advise you to get 4 pieces of dark meat chicken with the bone and the skin on them. Reason being is because with the bone and the skin, it really brings out a lot of that chicken flavor for this recipe. You're also going to need wild rice, salted butter. If you'd like to use unsalted, you can. Pepper, salt, thyme. Now this is not ground thyme, this is dried thyme leaves. You're also going to need chicken bouillon. Now you can use just the dried chicken bouillon or you can use the chicken flavor packets. You're also going to need curry powder. Now this is her super secret ingredient that I couldn't pinpoint. I'm going, what is that super secret sauce that I'm tasting? It's curry. Now you can also use either curry powder or, this is one of my favorite things to use, is a curry packet. Now these curry packets actually have chunks and blocks of curry that come out in a little cube like this, and they're very easy, very convenient to use if you really like curry in your soups and other dishes that you make. You're also going to need half and half and some type of flour. I actually prefer to use spelt flour. The reason why that I prefer to use spelt flour is because I'm a little bit gluten intolerant. I don't have celiac, but spelt flour is very good for those of you who may feel a little bit bloated or a little bit lethargic after you eat bread products. So this is the type of flour that I can use. You don't have to use a special flour. If you want to just use regular whole wheat or all-purpose flour for this, you can. We're using the flour as a thickening agent for the soup. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take a half a stick of butter and put it in a pan. And this is going to be the same pot that you use to actually make the soup in. And we're going to melt the butter and saute the onions. We're going to get the onions nice and golden brown. This will give us the soup a very, very good, rich, hearty flavor. Once the onions have a really beautiful golden color, then take them out of the pan and try to keep some of the butter, that butter in the pan. We're going to actually transfer this to the bowl. Let me show you just a little bit. We're actually going to transfer this to the bowl. We're going to put this in later on. It's okay if you leave some of the onions in. The next thing we're going to do is cook the chicken and the wild rice. So at the bottom of the pan, place the hind quarters of the chicken. Add 1 cup of wild rice and 3 cups of water. And then cover it. Cook this for about 25 minutes until the rice cracks. One of the things that you can do while this is cooking is chop up the carrots, the celery, and the mushrooms. Another thing that you can do while the chicken and the rice are cooking is to prepare a roux. Now, a very easy way to do this is to take about a half a cup of the flour and add warm water to the flour. And I recommend that you do this in a jar so that you can really mix it and incorporate it well. And I'll show you how in just a second. So stir it up really well to get it off of the bottom of the jar. And once you get it all off the bottom of the jar, you can take the lid and just shake up the flour and the water together. Now, this is going to help to thicken up the soup. Shaking it like this actually gets all the lumps out. And then set this aside until we're ready to use it. It's been about 25 minutes and the rice has started to crack. I actually want to show you what it looks like when they crack. So you can see the darker strands of the wild rice. See how it's cracked right there? That's when you know that it's ready to take the chicken out. It's about 20-25 minutes, 30 minutes is when the chicken is done. So we're going to take the chicken out of the pot and move it onto a cutting board and cut it up into chunks about 1 inch in size. Once you've cut up the chicken into bite-sized pieces, go ahead and put that back into the pot with the wild rice. Then it's time to add the other ingredients that are already chopped up, the celery, mushrooms, the carrots, and the sauteed onions that we previously cooked in this same pot, and the roux that we made with our flour and water. And go ahead and give this a good stir. We're also going to add our spices and additional flavors at this time. Now this is something, now most of you I'm sure are wondering, well, how many cups of this and how many cups of that? This really depends on how large of a pot of this soup you really want to make. You can have, 2 cups of each vegetable, you can have a half a cup of each vegetable. Really just depends on how much of this soup you want to make. I chopped up about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of each of the celery, the carrots, and the onion, and I used 3 small cans of the stems and pieces mushrooms. So now we're going to add the spices and other flavoring. The first thing I'm going to add is about a tablespoon of black pepper. I really like black pepper in this recipe. About a teaspoon or so of the thyme. About a teaspoon or so of the pink Himalayan salt. I really like pink Himalayan salt. It's got a really nice rich flavor. About a tablespoon or so of the chicken bouillon. And then also I'm going to add 3 chunks or 3 sections of this golden curry sauce mix. I'm just going to break up these chunks, and these will dissolve quite nicely in this soup. So now we're going to stir it all together. Now again, all of these spices and seasoning amounts are just to taste. It really just depends on what flavors you want to bring out. The thyme and the curry really do make this recipe. So we're going to bring it up to a nice boil, and then we're going to cover it and simmer. If you don't have access to this type of curry sauce mix, what you can use is 3 to 5 tablespoons of just the regular curry powder. It's coming along nicely and is starting to boil. I am going to add about a half a cup more water. And then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer until the vegetables are nice and soft. After about 20 minutes, go ahead and give it a good stir. And then check the vegetables. Now they should be tender, but not super tender. Okay, so some of the carrots are just a little bit crisp still, which is perfect. The next thing we're going to add is about a pint or so of half and half. And this is really going to give it a really nice flavor and really allow this soup to just add one more layer of complexity, if I do say so myself. So give that a good stir. I'm going to taste it to see if I want to add some more of the spices. Wow, that's good. I actually think I'm going to add a little bit more of the chicken bouillon, probably another tablespoon. A small amount, about a teaspoon or so of the thyme, and one more block of the curry. And again, that actually liquefies quite nicely in warm liquids. So we're going to simmer this now until all the vegetables are finished. It's been another 15 minutes, so we're going to check how the vegetables are coming along. And once they're tender, oh, they're perfect. Once they're tender, then we're going to serve it up. Yay! The perfect way to serve this soup is with a nice crusty piece of fresh garlic bread. Well, I really hope that you've enjoyed this Fearless Foodie episode where we've created Erica's super secret chicken wild rice soup. Until next time, I'm wishing you a fearlessly inspired day and menu. Mwah! Bye-bye.